Hey everyone! This video is going to go over the homework assignments for the Week 7 module. So when you click on the tab for the Week 7 homework assignments, the first item you'll see is to read Chapter 17. As always, really just skim it. It's more of a review of the material that's covered in the material presented in the Week 7 module. You're free to, really go through and read it if you choose. But again, it's more of a refresher, right? The next item that's listed is the Week 7 journal, of course. And for this journal, I'm asking you to tell me what your experience is with writing research papers. Have you had to write any in the past? What did you struggle with? What do you still need help with in terms of research papers? And finally, what do you know about APA format? Do you have any experience or any questions about APA format? We are not writing a research paper for this course, but we are going to cover the basics of research in APA format. So this is just for me to get an idea of what your experience is with it and what you've struggled with and what you still have questions about. Okay, so try to give me as thorough a response for that one as you can. The next item for homework is Week 7 Assignment 1, Identifying Parts of an Essay. So this is one of those assignments where you can use the Word document that I've attached underneath the assignment instructions if you choose. So you can download that document and type your answers into it because the questions are already there, and then you can save it and submit it that way. So for this assignment, the first thing you're going to want to do is read through the short essay that is presented there. It's called My Job in an Apple Plant. We've already worked with a paragraph version of this topic, and now that student has turned it into a full essay instead of just a paragraph. So read through the essay, and then there are a few questions to answer. And it's really just having you identify the elements of the essay. So how do they do the introduction? Where is the thesis statement? What about the transitional topic sentences? The conclusion? Things like that. So you'll type your answers into the blanks provided. For a lot of these answers, you can simply go back up to the essay and copy and paste the sentence or sentences that you want to give as the answer, right? Other questions, you'll actually have to type something out, and I even give you a hint. So for instance, in question number 1, it says, in the essay, which sentences are used to attract the reader's interest? Identify those sentences below. Then it says, hint, you can copy and paste the sentences from the essay. And so anytime you're able to do that, I give you that hint at the end of the question, right? So that's that. And then the next item for homework this week is Week 7 Assignment 2, Thesis Statements. Again, this is another homework item where you can download the Word document that I've provided with the assignment on it and the questions, and you can type in your answers on that document, save it, and submit it. So there's several parts to this assignment. Part 1, we have a list of possible thesis statements. There's 8 pairs, right? For each pair, you are going to choose the statement that you think works best as a thesis statement. And you can highlight it or underline it, just mark it in some way so I know what your answer is. So for number 1, option A says The Hunger Games is a science fiction adventure film based on the novel of the same name by Suzanne Collins. Option B says The Hunger Games is a morality tale about the dangers of a political system that is dominated by the wealthy. So out of those 2 options, which one do you think would make the best thesis statement for an essay? And then just, again, underline it or highlight it, mark it in some way. And there are 8 pairs of those, my bad. There are 8 pairs of those. For part 2, you are going to create a thesis statement based on a topic and supporting examples given to you. And I even give you an example in a box right underneath where part 2 begins. So it says example, you're given a topic, you have won the lottery and can choose to travel anywhere in the world. Write about one place you would like to visit and explain why you'd like to travel there. The supporting examples for that topic are, I would love to travel to France because I love French food. Paris is one of the most beautiful cities in the world and I would like to see it. And I would like to practice my French and become more fluent. So how do we, knowing what the topic is and knowing what the 3 supporting examples are going to be for that topic, how do we create a thesis statement from all of that information that we've been given? I give you the example here. So the thesis statement for that topic and those supporting examples would be something like what you see there. If I won the lottery and could travel anywhere in the world, I would travel to France because I love French food, I want to see Paris, and I would like to become more fluent in French. So you're not taking all of those sentences as they are and just smushing them all together. You're taking the main ideas of each supporting sentence and creating the thesis statement out of them, right? So looking back at the topic, if you won the lottery and could choose to travel anywhere in the world, where would you like to travel? So the thesis statement begins with, if I won the lottery and could travel anywhere in the world, I would travel to France because I love French food, I want to see Paris, and I would like to become more fluent in French. So it just took the main ideas from each of the supporting examples to create the second half of the thesis statement. So you have a few down below that where you're asked to do the same thing. So for number 1, the topic is education is important to have. The supporting ideas are, it could enable one to get a better paying job, it makes a person a more interesting individual, and it makes a person a more informed citizen. So now create a thesis statement for that topic and those 3 supporting ideas. So education is important to have because, and then take out the main ideas from the 3 supporting sentences. That's your thesis statement. So you have 3 of those to do for that part. Okay? Give it your best shot, but remember, everything you need is already there for you. You just have to pick out the parts that would belong in a thesis statement. Also remember that a thesis statement is one single sentence, okay? It should not be 2, 3, or 4 sentences. You're just taking the main ideas from each of the supporting examples and creating one single sentence that serves as the thesis statement, okay? Okay. The next assignment for this week is on introductions and conclusions, week 7, assignment 3. This one is attached, the Word document with the assignment is attached in the underneath the assignment instructions, but it might be easier for you to create your own Word document on this one, totally up to you. And you'll see why it's kind of where the questions are located and how the formatting ended up. It's totally up to you, but it might be more confusing if you're trying to type your answers into the Word document that I've provided. But I'm still providing it because some of you will not, you'll just want to do it that way. It'll be much easier. So what we're doing here in part 1 is we're working with introductions. And it says part 1, introductions, and then in italics, you have an introductory paragraph given to you. You want to read through that paragraph and then complete the 2 tasks underneath it. So the first task asks you to answer a few questions, and they're bullet pointed right there. Is the opening statement interesting? Does it use an opening technique suggested in the writing introductions handout or the textbook, either one? Does it include a thesis, a statement that tells the central idea of the essay? So answer those questions about that introductory paragraph that's in italics right there. And then task 2, using what you've learned about effective introductions, try to revise the introduction. Please keep in mind that a revision requires more than simply rearranging the order of the sentences or correcting grammar and mechanics. In fact, there probably aren't really any grammar and mechanics errors in the introductory paragraph that's there. And you don't just want to rearrange the order of the sentences. You should try your best to create a solid introduction that grabs the reader's attention, reveals the focus topic, and has a thesis statement. Especially if you can get to that thesis statement, that's really good stuff right there. I realize that the topic is not something that you have chosen for yourself. We don't have the rest of the essay to know exactly what this author intended to do, but just do your best. Take that topic that's being introduced in that introductory paragraph and try to create an introduction that has your personal touch while also staying true to the spirit of the original. So again, just do your best. Just remember what an introduction is supposed to do and see if you can get there with what you're given originally. Okay? And then part 2 is on conclusions. Same idea. You have a sample concluding paragraph there in italics. You want to read through it, and then for task 3, answer the 3 bulleted questions, and then for task 4, try to revise it. Again, do your best. You can imagine what the rest of this essay was discussing, or if you were going to write on this topic, what would you be saying about it? And try to come up with a concluding paragraph that stays somewhat true to that original conclusion that's given to you, but does it in a better way. Because both the introduction and the conclusion are flawed. There are errors. There are issues with them. They're not total washouts, but there is a problem in both of them. So if you can figure out what the problem is and then do your best to try to revise it and resolve it, you're going to be fine. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, though. I don't want you stressing out over this. I want you to try, but remember, I grade based on effort, and I will tell you in my feedback what you did well and what you might still need to work on and be aware of when it comes time to write your own introductory paragraph for the final exam essay. All right? So again, just do your best. All right. And the last item for homework this week is, of course, the Week 7 discussion. And this one is to peer review or not to peer review. So for this discussion, there's actually an article that I'm asking you to read first before you respond. And I've given you a link to it and provided a link to the Word document version of it as well. So you'll read through that and then you'll answer some questions. So question 1. It says, in paragraphs 1 through 4 of the article, Gubler discusses the importance of peer reviews and summarizes some of the common complaints his students have regarding their previous peer review experiences. The rest of the article outlines the method that Gubler uses in his own class, specifically the use of the memo page and feedback form. That'll make more sense once you read the article. So I want you to answer 4 questions. What are your thoughts regarding the importance of peer reviews? Do you have any prior experience with peer reviews? If so, describe your experiences. If you don't have any prior experience with peer reviews, what do you think would be some of the pros and cons of doing one? And then C, do you think Gubler's peer review methods would be effective? Why or why not? All right. And then there's a second question, a follow-up question, thinking about, Gubler's method that he describes in the article and your experience with peer reviews, if you've had any. Question number 2 is, how might you envision a peer review being executed in an online course? Would you be comfortable exchanging papers with someone you won't necessarily see face-to-face? Would it work best to download your peer's essay and fill out a form? Or maybe if we created smaller discussion forums and just like 3 or 4 people in that forum discussing their, exchanging their papers and reviewing them. And how about, and using a guided feedback form. So basically you would get someone else's draft and I would have a sheet that you would be looking at that says, okay, take a look at their introduction. Do they use a technique to grab the reader's attention? Do they guide us into the focus of their essay? Do they provide a thesis statement in the introductory paragraph? Look at their first main point. Do they have a transitional topic sentence? Right? It's not, is it good or is it bad? It's saying, does it contain these elements? Because if it doesn't, then that person has work to do. Um, and I know a lot of people think that doing a peer review would be a waste of time because you're all in the same boat, so how are you supposed to help somebody else, or how is someone else supposed to help you? And that's kind of the point, is you are all in the same boat. And yeah, ultimately, the instructor is going to be the one that grades it, tells you what your score is, but we all read essays. We are all capable of reading something and then stopping and saying, that doesn't make any sense, or that gets a little confusing there. You don't have to be an instructor. You don't have to have a degree in English to know that things are missing from what you're reading, right? And you can present that to the other person in a respectful, constructive way. The flip side of that is maybe you're the person who is struggling a little more. And if you're reading someone else's paper and they are doing a really good job, they have a stellar thesis statement, their transitional topic sentences are on point, they have really good examples in their paragraphs, that's a learning experience for you as well, because then you're like, oh, okay, maybe I need to work on my thesis statement a little more. Or maybe I really need to work on those transitions a little more. So it works both ways, and it's not about grading each other's papers. That's not it at all. It would be a guided review of it, looking for specific things. So how do you think that would work in an online class? Do you think it can be executed successfully? Why or why not? So that's the discussion for week 7. Make sure you try to have your first post answering the questions posted by Thursday night at 11:59. And that way everyone has plenty of time to respond to 2 classmates before the discussion closes on Sunday night at 11:59. If you have any technical issues with the discussion or submitting any of the homework, please reach out to me right away so that we can get that fixed if possible. If you have any questions in general about any of the assignments, what I'm asking for, how to answer the questions, that sort of thing, just reach out to me and I will help you as best as I can. Okay? Otherwise, that's it, and good luck with everything this week.